Okay, I'd like to call this meeting, the special meeting to order, please. We listed with the secretary who's here, so I think we're all set there. I need a motion for the minutes of August 3rd, 23rd, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Any additions or corrections? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? None? Okay. Jackie, do you have anything you'd like to say in liaison report?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Nothing? Are they meeting? Okay. Moving forward, next thing we start with, first thing on our report is the Henry James Memorial School. We need an architect's monthly report, please. Where'd she go?
Jennifer.
Jennifer?
There we go. I was trying to unmute it and I couldn't do it.
Okay.
Hi. Okay, we'll go over change order proposals more in detail during Dan's report.
Can I go through your field report first, please?
The field report? Sure.
Talk about the project before we get into the other stuff.
Okay. There's two field reports. One is architectural and one is site related. Is this what you're talking about? Field observation reports?
Yeah, two of them. There's the field
Okay.
observation, yeah.
So the architectural field observation report, I'm not really sure it's worthwhile to go through item by item.
No. Just give
Right.
us the general oversight. What is basically handling the field, the field operations out there, and basically it's covering what the bench chairs that everybody was concerned about. Some appear to be out of level. They're going to have problems with those.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that there's going to be any problems with those. A lot of things in the field observation report are generally minor. There's some minor finish things on the interior of the building, but I'd like them fixed up or cleaned up, looking a little bit better before the contractors leave.
Are they aware? Is the contractor is Downs aware of that? To have the subs do the work?
Yes, so all the field observation reports go to Downs.
Okay.
They get copied to that. Well, they get sent directly to them. Ken Romeo is also on the list. I usually send them to Jeff Shea, Andy O'Brien, all the people that typically meet with us each week to go over construction progress, any issues, etc. So these items I expect to be either corrected by Downs, or if they have an issue or concern with something I bring up, we can discuss it at our weekly meetings.
Okay.
So I do expect these items to be generally resolved. Many of them go to the punch list at this point, unless they're about to finish something up or correct something. It might not even have made it to the punch list.
Now, this next report you give us, you call the I don't know what you call that report. Just
Site report.
well, I was talking about the ventilation site, that thing there. You talk about that one in more detail. Now, you want to hit that?
There's a ventilation email. Perhaps that's what you're asking about.
There are two areas of noise complaints.
Yes. Okay. So let's talk about that.
Yep.
Yes, there were a couple areas of noise complaints. I'm going to let Mike Bouchard speak about that. And I also brought up these issues because they're related to potentially some existing ductwork. We've already done some sealing of existing ductwork, but that's only a portion of existing ductwork, not all of it. So we want to bring that into this conversation.
On the ductwork, let's stop there for a second. On the ductwork, we talked about that several times, and I thought that issue was completely taken care of with Downs, and they were going to take care of it, or you were going to direct them in what to do. And I thought that was already done. It's not, you're telling us it's not done?
There was work done, but that was a portion of ductwork. That was ductwork serving one exhaust fan, but I'm going to let Mike take over so that I don't misspeak on this. But there was work done, but it wasn't all of the ductwork in the school.
Right. So the issue is there are 4 existing fans, 4 existing duct systems. We knew one definitely had leaks. That's what we did talk about several times, as you
Right.
noted. There was a proposal. The work was done. They sealed that ductwork because that was known to be very leaky, and that fixed the problem. The other systems, I think I'll paraphrase the stance was, let's put the fans on and see how leaky the ducts are before we go spend money sealing the ductwork. And that's what was done. So 1 system was sealed and fixed completely. 3 were unknown, and based on the report, it's come back that of the remaining 3, 1 of the systems is perfectly fine as is. 2 of the systems are leaky, as some of us suspected, and now it's time to fix the leaks.
Can I hold on a second? Are you talking, can you refer back to the, I guess it's, I'm not sure who this memo came from. Marco, is it? In regards to, there's like, we need outside area CMFs for the following rooms. All the rooms are shown in the drawings. There's 3, 2, 1, 1, 1. You see that list?
I've
So-
seen that list, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
isn't
I
that
provided this.
more than what we thought we were going to have. We thought we had these down to just a couple.
That email contains additional information beyond the ductwork. That email, some of the issues in there was a contractor looking for additional information, just as normal course of the project, just part of the scope of work. But there's other points in that email which relate to the existing ductwork.
Is that
What's the plan for the ductwork to resolve the problem that you've discovered or that we have been made aware of? You've got duct systems that need to be fixed. What's the plan? How much is it going to cost?
I'll give my recommendation. 2 of the systems are leaky. They're performing at about 50% of what they should be performing at. I would recommend that we seal the ductwork as we did on the upper floor on 1 of the systems. Seal the ductwork, find the holes. I think they used a couple of man-days and some duct sealant going through the system, finding holes, sealing them, and then retesting the fans and seeing what we get.
Do we have a cost associated with that?
Yeah.
There was a cost. So 1 system was already done. I don't know the exact cost. That number is known. It does exist. We could pull it out. I don't know off the top of my head.
Right. The last time you gave us the authorization to proceed on the 1 system that we did do, I believe we got a not to exceed number of $5,000 authorized for that 1 system, and we came in under that.
Yeah, that's because the drawings were done and we had a complete set of drawings. We knew what was going on, but all these other systems, are we going to get drawings before we make a decision? I don't think we should be approving 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 grand or whatever it is until we know what they are, Allison.
What was the number? You said it came in less than 5,000. How much was it?
I want to say around 4,300, but don't quote me on that. I'd have to look it up.
Okay, so it was less than 5,000, but not substantial.
Right. So,
Right.
so just keep in mind, Dick, I mean, these are existing duct systems
Yeah, I understand.
that, that everybody knew that leaked, and you purchased new fans, and to Mike Bouchard's point a few minutes ago, you authorized 1 system. It's working beautifully, I guess I'll say, and 1 is okay by itself, and the other 2 need some attention.
I guess.
What's the life expectancy of the repairs and plugging and patching that they did on the system that's working beautifully for $4,800?
Well, ductwork should have I'll say 50-year useful life, and that's the metal. The sealant on the ductwork should last as long as the ducts. So it
So you
should
think we're good for the next 25 years or so?
Should be.
Should be. Okay. All right.
But I guess the question is, before we go ahead and authorize you, go ahead and do this, we need to know what the number is. And we don't have a number associated yet. So when are you going to start working on these ducts you're talking about now?
Dick, I think that came from us last time, and I think it would probably come from us now. If I remember correctly, I think we gave them 2 man-days, and that took care of 1 system, so we'd probably follow a similar approach this time.
I'm not sure who just spoke, but I agree with what he just said.
I think that was Mike.
It's Mike Egan. Sorry, guys.
Mike, that's sure. I'm thinking the same things you're thinking, Mike.
Mike Bouchard, other than that, how does the balancing report look? Is that the last item, those two exhaust systems that need to get cleaned up?
That's the base. That's most of it. Yeah, there are a couple little items that everyone is fixing or are
But there's
fixable.
more than two, basically, when you start fixing these things.
It's so two fans
Yeah,
are known to be deficient that are within the work area. We didn't go to other parts of the building. We don't know what's going on there.
that's-
So two fans, two duct systems, and as Mike Egan mentioned, it's probably a couple days labor to investigate and patch per system.
that's on those, but then tomorrow we might find two more. Is that what you're saying?
Those are not being touched as part of the project, so no, we won't be investigating or finding issues. There could be other fans on other parts of the building that we're not looking at.
Now, we're looking at all the new fans. In other words, we put a new fan in, and we're looking at the ductwork system for that new fan.
That's it.
Right.
Okay,
Correct.
so at least we're doing that, Dick. So I think that's prudent.
Existing
Well,
duct for a
just
new
remember-
fan system.
These are existing ducts for our new fans that have been installed.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
All right. Now,
But- But now this is
saying
Ken
couple
Romeo
days,
with Colliers.
maybe?
Just wanted to interject. Just wanted to interject that you're talking mechanical only. You have to remember the ceilings are now back installed, so
right,
there will be exposure for ceiling removal and then reinstallation also on top of that mechanical cost.
I believe the previous round they worked through the ceiling tiles. So you're right, Ken. They will be removing tiles, maybe possibly maybe damaging a few, but they're not going to take down the grid system, which should help.
you're
So
guessing.
Agreed. I'm just saying that it's not just mechanical that needs to be figured in when we're talking about these numbers.
Right. Do we have an idea? Somebody want to give us a guesstimate?
Well,
think we
I,
should-
you know,
To exceed number.
based on what it was before, I mean, the only difference now is I apologize if I cut someone off, but now we're doing the work on Saturdays probably. So, you know, if you kept the same number at 5,000 before, between the two systems, I think that's workable.
Can I jump in a second? Sorry, I was late to the meeting. But if we're working on this prior to, say, October 1, we could take advantage of Mondays because the students are not in school on Monday. So we might be able to get away with not doing so much of the overtime work.
Yeah, we could take advantage of that, Scott, for a couple Mondays. You know, we're right around the corner from
Yeah.
October.
Yeah, I think they're saying that a full start back would be around Columbus Day. So we could get in a few Mondays. And just to echo the importance of this, you know, across the district, we are doing everything we can to improve ventilation. So every little bit helps with the COVID plans that we have.
That's the concern I think everybody has.
Yeah.
Steve, you have an idea what you're going to cost? Can you give us a not to exceed cost, do you think?
Well, I would stick with the same $5,000 per system. That's what we did before and it worked out. So between the two.
Do we have a motion not to exceed $5,000 for this project?
I'll make that motion.
So that's per fan is what I'm saying.
Right, 5,000 per system, that'd be a total of $10,000 not to exceed.
Correct.
Okay. Do we
I'll
get that as
second.
a
That's
motion,
Rich.
please? Do we get that as a motion?
Yes, in form of motion, Richard Durr.
Yeah, do I have a second?
Rich Cortez,
So moved.
second.
Okay,
Got it.
all those in favor?
Oh, but just before we
Hey.
vote, I'm getting conflicting information whether 5,000 per fan is going to be sufficient. We just get, at least that's going to get enough to start. I'm concerned if they were close before and they're saying they're not going to get them all done on the couple of Mondays between now and October. I just want to understand what we're talking.
Let's run the way we have, Ryan. We've done this before, and I think we're going to be okay because we came in a little bit under. So if we say not to exceed $5,000 per, that's not to exceed $10,000. So if one ends up being 6 and the other one ends up being 4, we're still within our plan. So
right.
I think basically the numbers
Yeah.
sound pretty for a
I
motion.
thought it came in at 4,300, but somebody said 48
43.
later. Was it 43 or 48?
I thought it was 43.
48,
That's
but I have
That's
no.
what I said and asked not to be quoted, so I'd have to look it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me ask you a question. Just curious, what are the links, the runs that we're talking about? I mean, are you talking about 50 feet down the corridor, or are you talking about a shorter run, long, that you have-
Probably, so both fans with issues, the fans are on the roof above the second
Okay.
floor, and they serve the first floor. So we've got a vertical of 15 feet.
So it's the chase, yeah, okay.
So there's some in the chase, and then I'll say maybe 100-foot linear run down the corridor.
For each one of them?
Per fan, yep. And that's the same run that we had on the last system that was
Last one,
sealed.
it's about the same,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I think we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. We're talking about now, and I think based on that, if they start to go over it, they're going to have to come back to us and say, look, 10 grand is not going to do it. So then we have to take it and look at it at that point. But I think give them the
Right.
10 grand to get started, so we get the thing started up and running as soon as possible.
Because there's one comment, is that when they did it for $4,300 or $4,800 last time, they did take down some tiles, I heard.
Yes.
Right, so now they're going to be doing the same kind of thing. They're taking on some tiles. I mean, they're taking down every tile in sight. They can take on only enough tiles to go ahead and plug the holes.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, I think we're good. Let's move.
All right, we have a motion, I guess, and the question is, all those in favor of it passing, anybody was saying aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Sounds like most people, so I'm gonna say the motion's passed, we got that, not to see 10 grand on that item. Okay? Next item on your architect's report, anything you want to add there, your change order proposals, or you want to leave that for Downs to talk about, or do you want to talk about that?
I'll leave that for Downs when they go through their agenda.
Okay, Jen.
And then
Yeah,
the
no,
only
but-
other thing to say at the end of our architect's report, I just mentioned that we had been out at the site. We helped with punch list items and obviously the field observation reports.
Any issues?
There's no big issues. Downs has worked to resolve quite a few of the punch list items. Well, I mean, beyond a few. They've worked to resolve most of the punch list items at this point. There's still some that are outstanding. I will be headed out there on Friday to look at what they've completed to see if it's acceptable. And there was some other work that I have not looked at yet. I'll be looking at on Friday. Recent work that was completed that I haven't had a chance to see.
Scott, you see any problems with holding up classes? Hello, Scott?
Yeah,
There you go.
no problems.
Everything's gonna work and seem to be working okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any issues with that at this point?
Nope.
Nope, okay. All right, moving on, next item. Let's see, let's not get out of order. How about Colliers? We have a Collier report, please?
Yep. You have my summary. I assume everybody's seen it. I give an overview on the cost to date with the updated contract amount, which brings us through change order number 15, which is a total sum of $18,964,311.36. And at this point, as everybody knows, the project is tracking well. It's substantially complete, and the finish date is looking at September 24th at this point from the schedule that Downs has submitted for your review. And then I just list out, as Jennifer noted, significant items that have been completed, and then just the risk assessment as the dust collector has landed and installation is in process. So that there is still an item just that we're in process on. And then there still is some furniture that's pending. And then there is the electrical compatibility issue that is out there, which is ongoing coordination with the inspector at this point. And upcoming activities, as Jennifer said, is really the closeout process and finishing up the punch list, as we'll be out there Friday looking at locker rooms and then a few minor items that we weren't able to look at prior to classes starting in the fax area, the E-wing of the building. I don't know if there's any other questions, but we're in process
Rob's
on
coming along.
attic stock training. Go ahead.
Go ahead, you started to say training, sorry.
Yeah, it's closeouts in process with attic stock being delivered and training is ongoing at this point. And then warranties and O&Ms are starting to come in, and Downs is sorting through them right now.
All right, anything else you want to add? Any questions of Colliers? Hearing none, we can move on. Okay, the next item is the letter from Downs Construction regarding, for all of us to know, is that Mark Whitman is no longer with Downs and he's gone. And who wants to pick up from there in reference to the report? The Downs report to the construction.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Steve Smith. I'll be the main point of contact for the project. Of course, Bill and Garrett will still be in the field, and coordinating issues to be completed with Ken and Jennifer for sign off and so forth. So Mark did prepare the last report, which is in your packet. Unless you have questions, I won't go through the numbers that Ken just went through in his report, but it is tracking well. And soon we'll be reconciling allowances and creating COPs to give those dollars back.
Okay. So your schedule update, your work completed is on page 2. You want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's just slow coming up, excuse me. So we're completed. So as stated there, the locker rooms, the fax wing, and the area E topsoil and seeding is complete. The fence is now.
I saw a truck driving across the back lot today, pulling the fence down, and they were leaving tire marks there.
Yeah, they're coming back. They have to put the asphalt apron out and restore the curbing at the street. So there'll be a little bit of touch up to do as well. But
I'm talking the back of the school, completely way in back, almost into the other baseball field down there. They were pulling fence off, but they were there with a truck and they were leaving, as I saw, they were leaving marks all over the place on the field. Scott, did you notice that?
Yeah, I saw the trucks back pulling the fence up. I didn't notice the tire marks, but I was just passing through, so I didn't look carefully.
Yeah,
But we should take a look at that tomorrow.
We should look at that.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that.
Scott, just hold on, just for information. I know that we have one little sign up there down on that old fence close to the house there, that red house in the corner, saying no dogs allowed.
Yeah.
Why are people walking dogs through the lot? I saw them there 2 days ago.
We must not be doing a good enough job teaching reading at school, I guess.
Well, I'm just wondering, maybe, just bring up for reference. That sign is way down by the corner. Now you have that whole new fence moving up closer to the school. Do you think maybe a couple more little signs on the fence?
That's probably a good idea. And I'm not sure we have signage on the other side of the fence either. So we should look at that. I mean, generally we haven't shooed people out after school hours.
Right.
Our security and custodians will do that if it's during school hours and people are walking.
The ones I saw walking, if the school was in session, they'd be in session.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
That's why I brought it up. Otherwise, I wouldn't bring it up.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, I'm sorry, Steve.
No problem. So the work in progress, as Jennifer and Ken both mentioned, we're working off the punch list items. As of this morning.
Hold on for a second. Is the punch list items a lot?
We've got about 40 open items right now.
Really?
Of all items that have been generated for the
large or small?
Yeah, so it's small. I mean, to Jennifer's point, they're looking at some new work that's just been completed, so that might go back up a little bit. But every day we have the trades there and we're working those items.
Okay.
Yeah, the goal is to be done with all punch list work by the 24th when we need to be done for the base contract work.
Okay.
The exhaust fan commissioning, so that's been ongoing and brought up, the issue with the noisy fans and the ductwork. So we just talked about that for a while. And then the fax wing commissioning. So when the dust collector is complete, which will be mid next week, and start up towards the end of the week, that commissioning will begin for the collector and the fax wing. And then work to start, like we discussed, the fence has actually been removed out of Area E, and we have some construction entrance curb line to restore and grass out near the street. Yep.
Okay.
Now we're on to action items for COPs. Like I said, so Marcus put these together and Jennifer's aware of these. We have several to discuss if we could. COP 231, that's some scupper work at the media center and connector at the fax wing. We're using the contingency to fund this for zero cost change to the GMP.
Okay, we normally just go ahead with those zeros, but go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. So if it's a zero cost, I'll let you know. We can glaze over it if you will.
Yep.
COP 251, there are some allowance expenditures for some flooring prep in the fax wing, so that's zero cost as well.
Okay,
261, halftime required to install the new whiteboards that have been requested. So those whiteboards are coming in, I believe, tomorrow or Friday. Our hope is to start.
Steve, they're on site now. They were delivered this afternoon.
Okay, great. It was supposed to be today or tomorrow. Thank you, Scott. So Bill will be coordinating with Scott to start that as early as this Saturday to get in there. And we want to do 4 or 5 in the first day, thinking that's what we can accomplish. So at the time this COP, the previous COP was approved, it did not take into account the off hours time. And we brought this to your attention last meeting and you wanted to table it until you really knew that school was going to be starting and so forth.
okay, so we'll need a motion for COP 261 for the amount of $5,764.24, 27 cents, I'm sorry. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Rich Cortez.
Second, Bud.
Second, Bud. Any questions, comments?
Got a question.
Dick, can this be done on the Monday?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, we will take advantages on Mondays as much as we can, but there are a lot of boards, so they all can't. If we did it just on Mondays, we'd be there till spring.
The Mondays are trickier just because part of the day the teachers are teaching from their classrooms. So we'll have to coordinate that. There's not as much that we can take advantage of that as say like the hallways with the ductwork.
Okay. Well, as mentioned, Bill, our superintendent, will be coordinating with Scott.
Yep.
All right, do we have a vote on this? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Sounds good, passed, okay. Move on.
263 is for some new doors and hardware at 3 openings that weren't called for originally in the fax wing area. We have temporary doors in there now and the old hardware on there so Scott can use the spaces, but the doors and hardware are on order.
Is this something added after why wasn't this part of the original cost?
It was not part of the original design. I think Jennifer could speak to that better than me.
Yes, there was miscoordination with our hardware consultant and KBA doing the drawings. We showed what looked like new doors, but we missed coordination with the hardware consultant. So we actually did not own or buy out new doors and hardware for these 3 openings.
Is the $6,080.12 seem like a reasonable budget cost?
I did review it. I reviewed the hours, the hardware, the doors, all of that. And I did scrutinize that as well because originally it was a little bit more, maybe around $1,000 more. And I realized that we can reuse some other hardware that was available to us. So the price went down a bit. I did review it and I do recommend that you approve it.
I have a question for Jennifer. Yes, Jennifer, this is Richard Durr. You said that the drawing showed new doors, but the specifications for the hardware did not specify new hardware for those doors.
Right.
Is that what you said?
Then why wouldn't they pick up the doors in the original bid?
The doors are listed out on a door schedule, and there were no doors listed for those openings. They weren't on the list.
They're on the drawings.
I'm going to check and make sure that I spoke about that correctly.
Okay.
So
Right
Jennifer,
now.
my recollection was the doors are on the demo plan to be removed.
Oh.
on the new work to be replaced.
I think you're right.
The new work,
Steve.
So the drawings and the door schedules did not have the new doors,
Not have the new doors on
what was demoed.
in the end, if that's all the case, which is fine, does that fall underneath errors and omissions? In other words, it was intended by Castle and Booz. We expected new doors. It was a oversight or a mistake, whatever you want to call it, but we're supposed to have this ongoing list, and I ask about this at every meeting, of all the errors and omissions that Castle Booz has participated in. So if this is one of those, we need to add it to the list.
Yes, I will add it to the list. It is, and Steve is correct. I misspoke. We showed them as coming out, as being removed on demolition plans.
Yep,
We showed them as
okay.
existing on our new floor plans, but they did the demo and
That's fine.
we didn't have
And-
new ones. So it
and I
will be
have-
noted.
The chairman is that, have we ever received a copy of the list yet, or they're still working on that? When will we get that list from Castle Booz?
They're still working on it, forgetting it. We keep
When we
asking.
get an updated list, then we don't have to wait till the job is all done. We should have it at every meeting.
I can provide the list. I have the list.
Yep.
I'm looking at it and I update it at every meeting. So,
Okay, I'd like to see
Copy
that
of it
list.
for us?
okay.
All right, we have COP 263 for the amount of $6,080.12. Do we have a motion?
Yes, so moved.
second,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that one gets moved on. Okay. Now we're going to go into, we got about 19 more of these things. These are they're not even signed. I got copies of the change order proposals, and they're not signed. They haven't been signed by Mark or by Jennifer. So are we going to consider these, Steve, or what?
You just
Yeah,
gave
I
us a
also
verbal
get
on
them
that
signed.
$1,080. So we'll have to do that if they're not signed.
272. Let's move on.
That's a minor credit for painting of the dust collector ductwork. A PR was issued not to paint that ductwork.
We'll take it, move on.
Oh, hold on.
It's an allowance expenditure for the fax wing, a generator we needed, so that's a zero cost change.
Okay, we'll move on to that one next.
I got a question about that one.
All right, go ahead.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so during the fax wing remodeling in there, the floor, after removal of the old flooring in one of the areas, the slab was cracked and busted up pretty good and needed to be repaired. So part of that work was needed to be scarified to put some different levelers on it to bring it back up to grade. And a special generator was needed to provide the voltage power for the scarifier to do the work. It's really as simple as that.
But there's no charge.
Was the scarifying extra work,
Yes,
or was that part of the allowance?
It's part of the allowance.
we'll see that.
I'm just wondering. It seems like we would have known what voltage was available in the building, and that should have been captured with the original bid.
No bid, right?
Well,
Or
no,
different equipment could have been used.
This was all additional work.
Okay.
Yeah, this falls under the category of temporary power, more in my mind.
Right. Right.
That's correct.
Okay, but it's not costing us anymore. It's in
That's
that.
correct.
Right, okay.
Yeah, you're right. They're using up allowance for it. Yeah.
We can move on. Okay, move on to
274, another electrical allowance for powering a water fountain, zero cost.
Okay.
275 HVAC allowance for a gas solenoid valve that's required for the oven in the fax area. 276 painting of D101 corridor, which is adjacent to the new locker rooms. I believe this was a request from Scott, and that it's a partial glazed block in that area that requires some special prep. So Jennifer prepared a PR for that, and that's the price to paint that corridor.
Whoa. Who authorized that?
He requested it, Scott.
Yeah. Scott requested it. The work is not complete.
That's the principal, right?
Yes, so this
That's
is
fine.
literally like maybe 50 linear feet of hallway. It's the only spot in the whole school that's not the blue and white color. that the rest of the school is. For some reason, it just wasn't called to be painted there. So it looks pretty ridiculous when you're walking down the main hallway. You take a right and you see all these different brown colors. And then the fax wing is all blue and white, nice. So I don't know if it's an oversight or maybe when, part of that cost cutting stuff when we were doing the initial quote. But it seems silly not to have the whole school.
Yeah, it seems like why wouldn't that have been picked up originally? That's what I might question.
It
Maybe
was
because of the prep work involved. You're talking 50 feet is $3,500, $3,600. He just said that it requires it's got a special glazing on it that's got to be.
Yeah, but the point was the whole school was like that to start with. Why wasn't that picked up at the beginning and put in the drawings to start with? Where'd she go?
I'm here.
Jennifer?
So, this whole project had specific scope. There were certain areas that we were working in. We were working, in locker rooms to upgrade, to provide actually the changing areas in the locker rooms and the appropriate toilet room for the girls, which previously was a boys' toilet room, the whole fax wing. There were very specific areas of work in specific scope. And we did discuss this a long time ago in the beginning of the project, in the beginning of design. And it was discussed that the district was going to paint that quarter. They had already painted with however you got it done outside of a project. The gym lobby was painted by the district somehow. Why that didn't continue at some point in time, I don't know.
Got a comment on that, Scott?
I wasn't here then, so I don't.
Right.
That's news. That's news to me. I thought this was done as part of phase 2.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, I don't think the gym lobby was done as part of phase 2.
Okay.
There were certainly other areas. Now we've worked in, almost all areas over the course of this is being, the third project now. So it was an understanding from us that we didn't have work really in that area, and we wouldn't be painting it. That's something that the district could do or would do at some point in time. In fact, I was surprised that it hadn't been done when construction had already started, that it hadn't been done over a summer or whatever. But I definitely agree that it's out of place and should be done. Throughout the project, throughout scoping the project, we discussed various things. Do we add this to the scope? Will that increase the cost? Can we handle it? That specifically was discussed.
So anyone got
Is
comment
there any
on the
other-
cost of $3,600?
Doing by Downs.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
The question is the Downs. Is there any other painting that needs to be done to finish this job, or any other issues that are coming up besides this $3,600 job?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So this is really, we're pulling the painter back to the job to paint this one little section.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I saw him on site today.
Yeah, he's doing punch list work and so forth,
Somebody could talk about, looking at the value engineering this $3,600. Check the time. Check the materials. Check the
Is
stuff.
that reasonable cost?
I couldn't hear the question for sure. I believe you might have asked me if the cost was reasonable.
Approximately $3,700. That seemed to be a reasonable cost to do it. It has to be done. That sounds high.
Yes, but there is prep. We do have, primer. We have multiple coats. I did look at it and I did feel it was appropriate for the amount of work.
Okay.
It's also being done on premium time, I believe.
Oh.
We can't do everything on Monday, huh?
Apparently not.
Apparently not. I hear you.
You could do that on Monday.
You could do this on Monday. It's a room all by itself. The hall's, nobody's there. Nothing's going on.
Yeah. Well, maybe that would help us, save us, $500, maybe $800. I don't know.
Steve?
I would have to double check on the premium time. Jeff's probably right, but then why don't you do a not to exceed, and I can revise the COP to reflect no overtime, if in fact we can do that.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it that way.
Do we have a motion not to exceed the $36,68.99?
Right.
Second?
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Not to exceed. Move ahead.
278, another electrical allowance expenditure for wiring the flashometers that were associated with COP 241, previously approved, so no change to the GMP.
Okay.
280 miscellaneous fire alarm repairs for some existing fire alarm issues. Again, pulling out of the contingency, so no impact to the GMP.
Okay.
Allowance, site work allowance, COP 281. Removal of the stone that we brought into the the laydown area and so forth to remove prior to school opening. So, and we coordinated with Jeff for the town to take over that stone. Zero cost to the GMP. 282 is a little complicated. There's a bulletin for some electrical and data work in one of the rooms there at the school. And when Mark puts this together, he kind of commingled a couple items, but so there are two items associated with this. And Jennifer, please correct me if I misspeak, but one of them is the real power at the labs for the lab tables, correct?
Why weren't they picked up before? Why weren't these stuff like this picked up before? This was really something. I mean, you put a lab and you put a counter in, you know you're gonna have to electrical to it. Why wasn't it part of the original bid?
We did have notes from meetings with the staff, both architecturally and electrically. Mike has some too. We also were sent information about what was required in each lab.
Yeah.
And that actually, believe it or not, was not listed, and we did not provide that.
Well, that's definitely errors and omissions times 10.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge miss.
Yeah.
In the beginning of wherever we were in the planning stages.
We did. They were specifically asked for some of the labs, and we did that. And then this particular shop, it was not on the list of what was required to be provided, and it wasn't provided.
How do we handle those errors and omissions on this?
Well, we got the list. They get to a certain point, they exceed the 3%. Their insurance kicks in and pays for it.
That's what I'm saying. Allison, I was waiting for Allison's.
Well, we have to have the list.
Okay.
Yeah, but here we're spending another $11,000.
The reason they have errors and omissions, okay, it's not, excuse me, anybody and everybody professionally or not, excuse me, can make an error whether it's $50,000 or $500. I gotta get a glass of water here. Anyway, and that's why they have the errors and omissions. They have the percentage on it. So let's just follow the program.
Yeah, when you give us a list, we have to go through it because
there's a lot
you can't get paid for something that you didn't pay for.
Right.
I'm just saying. So some of these items, in other words, this wasn't on the plan. We didn't pay for it. If it needs to be added, you got to pay for it. But we can go through that list at the time once you get it to us.
All right, do we have a motion to approve this $10,986.79 for CP 282?
So Dick,
Don't move.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that she feels, Jennifer, that this is a reasonable amount of money to pay for this out of context device.
Yes, we reviewed it. We thought it was reasonable. Not
Yeah,
all of that is attributed to the cord reels in that space. There is
good.
money for another room for some other.
Right.
Okay, we're doing 282. Okay, any other
Thank you.
comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
so moved. Okay, next 284.
284, that's another PR for some
Right.
added electrical work. Jennifer has brought to my attention that there are some unit costs in the contract that should be applied to this change. So we think we can do better on the number. I'm not blaming Mark, but he took one path for this, and Jennifer in her review have brought up, there's a way to save some money here.
Can we
and
put
I'm
this
all
on
for
hold
it.
until you guys resolve it?
If we can do a not to exceed, just so we can, once Jennifer
can move
finds
on.
out what the number should be, we can get the work going for Scott.
Is there a motion?
So
So
moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor not to exceed?
Aye.
Okay,
COP 285, it's some allowance masonry expenditure. That's a zero cost to the GMP. 286, an allowance for HVAC, same thing. Was for some grills in some areas in the library. Excuse me, for the heating system, zero cost to the GMP. 287 is a back charge between two contractors, so no impact to the GMP. 288 is a painting allowance expenditure. Same thing, with some touch up and some miscellaneous painting is directed by us. That was unassignable to others, so that's what the allowance is for. No impact to the GMP. Same with 289 for ceilings. No impact to the GMP for some miscellaneous ceiling repairs. So if we run into repairs doing the not to exceed work for the duct work, we can utilize the allowance to change out some ceiling tile if that's what we need to do. Same approach. 290 is a contingency funding source for millwork refinishing in the auditorium for $883, but no impact to the GMP.
Okay.
And that's it for approvals for this evening.
okay. So the total scope for in scope was $77,135.12. And out of
Yeah.
scope, $28,804.17.
Right, and of course, we have some not to exceeds in there, so
Yeah,
hopefully those numbers will come down.
okay, good. All right, any other comments on these COPs? Okay, what's this?
Yeah, I got a question about the first part of the project financial summary. I just want to make sure I'm reading it right, but it looks like between contingency and allowance, there's almost $1.5 million left that could potentially get returned.
That's correct.
That's correct. No? Yep. Okay, moving on to B. Water infiltration. Steve?
I have nothing new to add there. I know there's been a claim submitted by the town to Travelers. I've asked our controller to look into that with Travelers to see if there's been any movement on their end on it. And I've yet to hear back.
Jeff, you got any comments on that?
No, same thing. We're still waiting to hear from Travelers on the downside, and we have been contacted by our builders risk adjusters, and they're looking at it too.
Okay, so it's still on hold, so to speak.
It is.
Okay.
Is this a firm number now, or is it still an order of magnitude?
No, this is actual costs incurred to date. There may be a few loose ends of costs that we have not submitted, but this is the bulk of the cost. And actually, these numbers, I don't want to confirm these numbers. My numbers might be slightly different that were submitted to the insurance company, and it was actually 2 separate claims, 3 including the COVID claim. So there's 3 pending claims.
Basically, we also had, since we're talking about claims, we're looking into that delayed claims that we had the reference to COVID. We turned down to our attorney, and the attorney's made some comments, but we don't have all the information back. So I'd like to just put that on hold for now until we hear more from the attorney. We can dig a little more deeper into detail on the COVID requirements. Everyone understand that?
Mr. Chairman, I think that sounds like an excellent idea. I would just, I don't know if we have a procedure to get into executive session, but as it's a discussion of a letter from our attorney, I think that would be appropriate if there's discussions that need to happen in order to facilitate.
At this point, there's no discussion. I think we need to get some more detail on it before we go into that executive.
No, agree. I'm saying, I don't know technologically if we need to do some work so that at our next meeting, we can facilitate that executive session.
Executive session, okay. So you would like, if we want to talk about the response from Robert DiCascenzo, we go into executive session on this. And that's good because it does revolve other people's dollars and cents, as the one we're just talking about here now. If we need to do that, we go into executive session on that as well.
I think what Ryan's getting at is we need to make sure that we can kick everybody else off.
Right.
And shut down the public
Keep it out of the public ears.
Play.
The live stream.
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, moving on. We'll get into your payment later on when we go into payments, but other critical items for discussion, Steve?
No, just, some of those loose materials like the boards and so forth are finally showing up in the debt collector to get that stuff behind us.
But you got a note
There
down.
was one,
You're saying down
there was one thing, Steve, that we were talking about, the SRO room
Oh, yes.
and
Yes.
the requirements there.
Yep. So as you know, there was a COP for the SR room. Air conditioning systems presented a couple meetings ago.
Right.
And the town went and got a price from a local contractor. And we met with the contractor to get him up to speed with all the documents needed for the pricing. And he was to get back to us, and he decided later he wasn't interested anymore. So I know Andy's in process now of trying to fill that gap, getting pricing for some roof work and other work associated with that change to try to put a complete number, HVAC, and, to look at apples to apples from the number we got from our trades to a number that Andy got for the town.
Right.
Is this a request from the Board of Education or the town, or?
Yeah, and I'd like to put an asterisk on this one. This was a room, I know we've been calling the SRO room. We're not using it for that now. We're needing to use it for an isolation room for students. If they present COVID symptoms, that's where they have to go. So it's important that we have, cooling in there, especially now it's hot. You got a kid who's sick. They have to be in there alone without, with adult eyes looking in. So it's a tricky room right now. But it's one, it would be helpful to have cooling in there for sure.
How big is this room?
I pretty good at estimating. I'd say it's like one bay. It's like one of those one bay offices. So maybe 15 to 18 feet deep and 12 to 15 feet wide, maybe something like that. I don't know if that's about right. People who've been in there. So it's a small room, but there are no windows in there at all. So
there's no other room to use in the school for an isolation room?
No, I mean, this is right. It's the room that's right near the nurse's office, and then provides a really quick exit straight across out the service entrance, so that we just don't have any kids going through. So,
Right.
It's a room that would need air conditioning. Eventually, we would have a year-round employee in that room. That's the plan, to do scheduling. So our head scheduler would be in there through the summer as well. So it's an important one.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
All right, moving on your report, this immediate, not immediately available back order. What are these items for? This all worked out, no problem?
There's 3 appliances yet to be delivered, and we don't actually have a delivery date on them yet. One's a freezer.
Why not?
And 2 are refrigerators. Well, there was an issue with the order essentially, and then we went into the COVID problem, and the manufacturer's just not producing them right now. So they can't even give us a time frame of when we'll have them. So we have some temporary ones in their place for use in those areas.
We paying for 2 of them? Temporary ones and the permanent ones when it comes in?
No, temporary's been picked up by the subcontractor.
So there's no cost to us on those. Okay.
Right.
All right, any other thing you want to give us on your report?
I guess I'll just say there'll be another item coming. We just received a PR. The lockers were installed recently, and the desire is to modify the lockers in, I think, Jennifer, 10 areas, which requires some more parts and pieces. And those are likely 10 to 12 weeks out after the order is placed. So it's being priced right now. They're in areas where there's existing either access panels, receptacles, or thermostats and things like that should not be covered up.
These are hall lockers?
Yes, well, hall lockers, and there's some of them in the locker room, correct, Jennifer?
They're all in the locker room,
Okay.
in the boys and girls locker rooms.
Okay, that's the question. So these are more physical locker rooms than they are just books and jackets.
Right.
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 Those
So,
those aren't being used right now, correct?
Those two rooms they're over by the gym, are they not?
Correct. So we're not having students change right now or use those locker rooms. So it's fine that they're working in there. It's not a problem.
Yeah, but weren't those lockers part of the original package?
yes. So the lockers, there's a certain quantity of lockers that we put into the project, and we did a layout. Much of the layout is the same as the original locker layout. The original lockers were just in really bad shape. And we wanted to provide a certain quantity. They're 3-tier lockers, so they have a certain size that we worked out with during this design, how big of the locker space is needed for the kids, what's the quantity. But pretty much they were going back in similar positions to the existing. And what happened is when they took the existing lockers out, they uncovered there were electrical outlets and things behind the existing lockers that we hadn't seen. We didn't know they were there. So we couldn't put new lockers in front of some of these junction boxes, outlets. In the access, there was an access panel. We didn't want to put any lockers in front of that. So we revised the layout slightly so that we can get the same quantity that was purchased as a part of the project, put the same quantity in there, but we needed to make some adjustments. So we need a few other pieces like end panels where maybe we had 6 lockers, and now we need to split them up and do 2 banks of 3 each.
Unforeseen conditions, value added.
Yes.
Absolutely. Nothing we can do except make sure it's done safely.
Right.
Yeah. So the only unfortunate thing, we'll probably be installing those on Thanksgiving break with the lead time on them. So.
Okay.
So there'll be a
Right.
premium for that.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Well, it's nothing. It's unforeseen and.
Yeah, it's
and
nothing you can really do.
Okay.
They do not need to be installing those on Thanksgiving break. We're not using the locker rooms.
Right.
So they can do it when they come in,
Good.
Scott, you're right. My point is that's how long it's going to take to get the pieces.
Yeah,
Right,
and that's
that's
fine.
fine. Right,
We're not
okay.
so concerned about that.
Okay, moving on. I have an application for payment from Downs. It's application number 17 in the amount of $656,974.85. My question is, however, it has not been signed by the architect. At least a copy I have has not been signed by the architect approving it yet, nor are there dates on here. Do you see that, Steve?
I'm opening it now.
We did review, and KBA recommends payment for that.
Okay, from KDA, all right. And well, we have to put it there. Can I have a motion to accept application number 17 for the amount of $656,974.85?
So moved.
Second,
Second, Richard.
any questions, comments? Hearing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
I would say it is dated 8/31/20.
8/31/20, okay.
Yeah, that's the period too on it.
That's not it, okay. All right, moving on. Next item is Castle Booze invoice. Let me get it in front of me. Castle Booze invoice number 160180424 in the amount of $11,431.25. You have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Here a second?
Second, Richard, second.
Okay. Any comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so moved. Okay, Jennifer, the next one, we have another thing here. This is the furniture one. It was really, this is something we didn't have much control because that's something the school on their own, we didn't order it. Does this move this for $6,749.65 approved? Jen?
Where's this money coming from, Dick?
Comes out of his budget, unfortunately.
Okay, we got a line item for that?
Under furniture, yes. But this, we had a budget for that. The question is, does this fit in that budget? There was some money already spent. Jeff, help out here. Wasn't some money already spent in this area?
Yeah, my understanding that we're still within budget
That's what we want to know.
for the state grant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jennifer, help us out on that?
Yes, you are still under budget with FF&E.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
I'd like to see a write-up on that.
Yeah, we need to see
rather than a
that.
verbal.
Okay.
Allison, we can do that? Because that basically, that thing started out quite high. I think it was like, $11,000, $12,000 originally. Kept going back and forth, back and forth.
Jeff, what's the grant amount for? Jeff Shea.
I'm not prepared to give you any detail on that tonight, Rich. We can try to give you an updated spreadsheet at the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, we just want to make sure we're within grant
Within
and
the
or
budget,
budget.
that's right.
Yeah, in the end, because
Allison,
we
you
don't
have
know
any approximate idea?
I'm sorry, Dick?
Allison or Jeff, do you have an approximate idea? Are we within the budget?
I believe we are. We've been relying on KBA. Casey, I believe, has been monitoring the budget on that. Jennifer, correct?
He
Allison?
has been, and I don't have an update from her, I'm sorry, but we have been really conscious of not going over what was approved by the state and approved by the Public Building Committee
Right.
is a budget number. So I feel confident that this didn't exceed that, but I will get you a write-up.
If you would, please.
Mhm.
We have a motion to approve this $6,749.65.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so approved. All right. Next item. KBA, FEA Switch Institution. What's that one? That's furniture, again, for $7,504.48. That's part of this whole thing, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Allison, you want to make any comments to this one? There's another one after this one too, so there's three of them here.
There's many.
Different vendors, Dick? I believe at least two.
These are different vendors, well, they're different furnitures. One's furnitures and how the other one's like media center, and the other one's auditorium, and for the memorials. All right, well, we got this one here now for $7,504.48. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll move. Motion.
Second.
Second. Any comments, questions? All right, we're going to see all this in a breakdown, so I say we'll go ahead and make it approval. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so move. All right, then we have another one it's for the amount of $9,677.54 for Phase 1 media furniture. For a motion?
So moved.
Move, okay. Second?
Second.
Second, okay. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, two. Any more? Okay, moving forward on that one. We have another one here for $341,576.66 for Robert Lord Furnishing. What is this one, Allison? It's quite a bit.
I think the total budget's like $488,000 or something.
Yeah, it's close to 500,000, as I remember.
For $500,000 for all this furniture.
Yeah. Okay, can I have a motion for this, please?
What
Yeah, I'm not.
paper is that on? Because I'm not seeing that one.
I'm not
This is
seeing that
on
either.
KBA 1601804. It's invoice number from them is from Robert Lord Company for furniture that was approved amount to be paid at this time for $341,576.66.
The next
Right.
one in my package says 188.
185, 496, 77.
Well, you look down look down below it. It says total to be paid. That 185 was paid before.
Yeah, it's hard to read because of its scan.
Oh,
dated September 1st. Mine says the invoice amount's 188 and the approved amount is 185 and change.
John, there's a line under that.
Line on that, the to be paid for.
Blacked out.
Oh, I can't even read that.
Yeah, 341, 576.66.
No, I can't see that. It doesn't read that.
Yeah.
Touche on us, Dick. You got one right.
I got one. That's what it is. 341, 576.66.
What did you say the total budget was?
488,
I think it was
489, 18499.
If you go to page 100 of the PBC packet, it says the total project is almost $600,000 for the.
Right.
I think that's the FF&E.
Yeah.
You're right. 595. Yeah.
The furniture?
So we're buying that company, Robert Lord Company, for
Robert Lord Company.
What's the invoice number, Dick?
The invoice
Three
number,
three eight four five.
Yeah,
but
345.
what does the amount approved, 185, 496.77 mean in the middle of that?
yeah, and they
That's
got
what
one.
the test cruise is approved.
Yeah, Bud, in that dark line
Go by
is the
that.
total. You can't read it.
Joe, hold on a second. If you go by the first, this is very confusing because if you go by the first one, an invoice date of 8/31, which was 33845-2, was for 227,330.63. The invoice amount, but then it says the approved amount 156,079.89 with the remaining balance of 71. I don't know what's going on. Is he partial?
I think that's KBA scrutinized this invoice and the company tried to bill for things that were not installed yet. And so KBA has only recommended that we approve 156,079.89. That's the way I'm reading it.
I think that's correct.
Oh, the stuff stamped, not approved.
Right,
But then,
It says not installed per punch list,
right.
8/25/2020. So
it
that
says
stuff
here,
is,
the closed approved amount to be paid at this time. Allison, is it 341 or is it 156?
well, you add that together, the 185 and the
186, that's right. You come out to 341.
341.
No question. But it says remaining balance, but
We should move on those individually to match up with the amount that's approved. We should move on the 185, 496.77 separately from moving on the 156.79.89 to keep
it's all under the same bill. If you want to do it that way, fine. But we normally don't. We pay the
on
whole,
the same.
the whole bill. The total bill is 341. The total bill is 341, 576.66.
No, I'm not finding that either, but oh well.
It's not visible, Rich. It's in that black
That's the
line.
total of the two on the invoice.
Yep.
The total invoice is 341, 576.66. You have a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second. It's a total of the two. It's the total of the two that we were talking about. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so approved. Moving on, okay. All right, that takes care of all the things in Castle Booze at this point.
Except they're going to give us some kind of reconciliation of that later, so we can make sense of it.
That's right.
Yes.
That's a report. That's not a bill.
Right.
Next one is,
There is a, page 99, 100, is some reporting, but I will, make sure that I understand that fully from
yes,
Keith.
please.
It does talk about how much is left, what the total project amount is.
Yeah, that's not readable.
Yeah, right.
They need to make higher quality
Well,
scans of this stuff.
Right. Part of the,
Or
I
not
don't know
scan
for
it.
sure about this one, but I can tell you that we do send often, I know I send PDFs over to be sent out, but then for some reason, I guess I'll ask Carol about this.
Hey, Carol
Somehow
signs off on all these, so.
the
that's-
nice,
Sure.
I send color PDFs and everything of our observation reports, but when it gets to you, it had been printed out in black and white, scanned
Right.
in, and the quality at that point is difficult to read.
Yeah, but if you go, unfortunately, I don't mean to say that, but if you go to the attached, all the attached has an outline of what's been approved and what we're paying for. there's little check marks for each one of them that comes up with a total. If you sit there and add up each total page, you come up to that 185, 150, 125, for instance, in the first set. And then you come up to another one that comes up to 4695 was another approval. And you come up with another one at 4302880. So you have to add all these up. You add all these up, it comes up to 341 576.66. But I think we need, as we said before, Allison, that breakdown of how these things are working together. Okay? Now let's move on. We have now an invoice from Colliers. It's invoice number 006966865 for the amount of $5,148.80.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay. We have a second one from Colliers.
Dick, if I can interrupt for a second on the second one.
Yep, go ahead. Let
So
me
this actually is not an invoice.
put it on the table first.
I'm sorry.
We just put it on the table first, then you can discuss it. Okay?
Yeah, this is a credit. I just want you to understand this is a credit versus an invoice.
Yeah, so that's why I was going to bring that up. It's a minus, not a plus. It's invoice. It's a credit memo 007011, and it's a credit coming back to us the amount of $4822.38, $4,822.38. Now, Jeff, is that what we're trying to say here?
Yeah, I just wanted to explain that Colliers presented to us that they had been charging us a higher rate than our contract rate.
Right.
So this represents the credit for all the back invoices with the differential, the delta on the hourly rate.
Yeah, in other words, if you go through page 2, you'll see in January they had 113.15.18 when it should have been 379.18. Well, we got a credit for. I'm sorry.
Correct.
Okay. So they're all listed, all 4 months listed for the credits. So this is credit. Okay, everybody understand that?
Yep.
I'm sorry, somebody started to say something? Dirt? Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, any questions, additions? All those in favor?
So once we get the credit,
The credit we can take off the bill we're paying. We got
Yeah, right now.
well, that's what I know. Is that's what's gonna happen? So we're gonna pay them $1,100?
Yeah, we'll
Or
just,
not even, 48,
That's right.
$300 or something.
Yeah,
correct.
right.
Okay, as long as that's clear. Okay, very good. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay. Jeff, you'll handle that, I'm sure. Okay. Next, we come into Van Zelm's invoices. We've got professional services through June 27th, invoice number 47465 in the amount of $1,573.50. Now, I'm a little confused because they have a balance down there of $8,249.90. That should not be part of this invoice. Is that correct, Jeff?
No, that was a previous invoice that we delayed payment on, I believe, from the prior month.
That 8249?
I believe so.
Sounds familiar.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, I think you're right. So we should be paying that now because they did that. They've done that twice now.
No, that's been processed, Dick, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think we want to go on that. I think all we need to approve tonight is the 1573.50. Is that correct?
Yes, on this invoice.
Okay. Can I have a motion for that number, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, that takes care of that one. Then we have a Van Zone number 0047569, the amount of $801. And they also have the AR balance, but we're not going to work on that at all. We're going to just work on 801, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay,
So moved.
so moved. Second.
Second.
Okay, any questions, additions? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, that's okay, approved. Okay, that takes care of all the bills. Any old business, for anyone? Hearing none? All right, any new business? Jeff, anything you want to add to this?
Nothing, no.
No? Anybody else?
Uh,
I had a question.
Hey, is that Lucian? When did you show up?
Long time ago.
Okay. I didn't hear you. Welcome aboard. Okay, I'm sorry. Who has a question?
Mike Egan.
Go ahead, Mike.
I had a question about, we had discussed work in the courtyard, some touch-ups to bring the existing finishes to the level of new finishes. Was anything done on that? And can anyone comment on how those look now that work is substantially complete?
Allison, are you there still? Did she leave?
Jennifer,
Yes,
Jennifer's there, yep.
Jennifer?
You did approve some repainting of EFIS in the courtyard, for instance, and there's some new brake metal pieces too in the courtyard.
Right.
So I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, because the biggest issue I had seen was there was EFIS patching. There were different colors of finish at the top of the walls, the top of the existing
Chairs
walls.
and things like that aren't there yet, right?
That work has been done now.
Right, that's one of the zero cost changes we went through.
I guess my question is, how does the courtyard look, and do we need to think about doing more work to improve the appearance?
I will look at it again when I'm out there. But based on the last time I was there with the punch list items, as long as the patches were done and painted, I think it's going to look good.
I walked through it, oh God, a couple of weeks ago, and before Mark left, and going through what else was saying, there were some items, small items that had to be corrected, but there was more patchwork than it was major work, and I thought it looked pretty good. Jeff,
I'm going to have to look at it again tomorrow because not tomorrow, on Friday.
Jeff, you
Got there?
too, didn't you?
Yeah, Dick, I haven't been there in a couple of weeks, so there was some items at that point, but I know a lot of that work's been done.
Yeah.
What does the principal think? Is Scott there?
No.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was answering an email. What was the question?
How do you think the courtyard looks?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I just actually had,
There you go.
I just had Mr. Peters come out there, who was Patty Lou Peters, the assistant principal at Henry James. And we have the plaque is installed now, and it was just a really nice moment for him. But it's a really nice area. Kids are having lunch out there. It's great. I mean, I think they're still finishing up some work up above. But yeah, no, it looks great.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Question.
Great.
Okay. Any other comment?
I have a question about Van Zel.
Go ahead.
Is there a commissioning report? Steve, what's going on? They are 95% complete with the services, but
We haven't got it yet. Jeff?
Yes, they've got the dust collector yet to do, which will be done next week.
Yeah.
but how about the rest? I mean, everything is in order. They are satisfied. There are no issues. I mean,
No, they've had some minor issues that have been taken care of that come up on the portal. I don't know if you're around, Lucian, for the discussion on the leaking ductwork, but
yes, I was.
after that's complete, we'll balance again, and they'll get a copy of that balance report, as will Mike, for any comments.
We should have a copy of the commissioning report that comes from Van Zel.
Lucian,
Yes.
did they give you access to their portal?
No, I don't have access to the portal.
Okay, I requested it a while back and they gave it to me. So if you're interested, they have no problem sharing the link and setting you up so you can see all the items.
Okay, I'll try to get in touch with them and see if I can get access. I'll call Bill.
Or either that, but maybe it should come from Jeff saying, Jeff, that we authorize that the portal be go to Lucian. That's what we did the last time for you and Mike. So I think we have to do the same for Lucian.
We can do whatever you want. Yeah, whatever you want to do is fine.
Give them a call and say that Lucian will be calling them for a setup on the link to get this information. It's okay with us.
I can do that and copy Lucian on that.
All right, thank you, Jeff.
And Lucian, just a point of order, there is a second proposal for additional commissioning for the dust collector and the guidance suite. So that hasn't been billed out yet.
But we want to get the items that are done and where they are and what they got to do. But that's on their report, I know. So, but if we get Lucian tied in, he'll be, he's gonna have two people.
Yeah.
tied in.
We'll take care of that.
Thank you.
Any other business? Hearing none, motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much. Have a good rest of the evening, and we'll talk to you in about a month from now. We'll
Okay,
see
good
you
night.
back on.
Okay.
Get back on.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Sure.